Welcome to the USA New Times, where truth has no agenda and every story seeks peace. In a world divided, we shine a light on what unites us: honesty, justice, and love. Inspired by the words of Jesus, love your neighbor as yourself.
Welcome to the US New Times, another episode. Today, we are going to discuss the marginalized people of Eastern and Southern Congo, commonly known as Banyamulenge and Banyarwanda of those parts of the world. Banyamulenge of Congo are Congolese. It's a tribe in Congo living in southern, most of them living in the southern part of the country. And we also have other Kinyarwanda-speaking Congolese living in the north part of the country. So today we are going to discuss some of the problems that they have been that they have been facing for decades now. Starting way back when they started living in that country, there are a lot of factors, there are a lot of challenges that they do face, which we are going to discuss, analyze, and also try to see what is their future. What is the future of Banyamulenge? What is the future of the Kinyarwanda-speaking Congolese or the Tutsi Congolese who are currently living in a limbo, living in the world of denial? So these people are actually living, some of them, we start with northern Congo. Some of them live in the northern part of Congo, which is a northern province, or what you call Kivu province, or they call it in French, Nord Kivu. These people have lived there for centuries after the colonial masters came to barricade our continent. So some of these barricading Rwanda and Congo meant that some people, some Rwandans remained on the Congolese side. And this was done in the 20th century. And that also brought about the denial of Congolese believing that these people are not part of them. This is where now it starts from. You have to understand that where it started from. It started with them being barricaded into taking part of the Rwandan land into Congo, and the land became part of Congo, and the people also became part of Congo. But Congolese themselves have never even one day accepted them. They call them foreigners, or they call them Banyarwanda. In 1981, a national law was passed. The nationality law was passed. This law reversed area legislation and executed many Rwandans from Congolese. In 1981, we remember there was a law that President Mobutu passed of nationality, which excluded these people from being called Congolese, instead to be called Rwandans. And that's where now their problems started coming. We also have another part of them living in the southern part of Congo, see the Kivu. Most of them are in Minembwe. Others are in the mountains called Imirenje. This is why they are even called Banyamulenge, because they live in those mountains. Those are the mountains which run from some part of southern part of Congo, starting from Kamanyora, Ruvunge, Chiringi, Kanganiro, Rubirizi, Sanje, Runingu, Chiringi, Kavimvira, Uvira. You go up to a place called Minembwe. These people live in those centers, and some of them live in the mountains that surround those centers. Those have also, for a long time, been marginalized, because most of them are pastoralites. They love keeping animals, they cultivate a lot, but they are not given the right to the possession of land. There are always land disputes between these Banyamulenge, these Banyarwanda-speaking people, between them and Congolese. So we are also going not to limit that. We're also going to look at some of the labor groups that marginalize this section of human beings, such as the terrorist group of FDLR, which is also a genocide group where some of them had a very big hand in committing the genocide against the Tutsi. So we're also going to discuss the Mai Mai. Also, Mai Mai is another militia group that mistreats these people. We're also going to look at part of M23, M23, which is fighting for the rights of these people. We're also going to discuss about the Twirwaneho. Twirwaneho is also another group of young people from Banyamulenge who wish to fight for their rights and for the rights of their people. Especially that most of these Banyamulenge, most of these Congolese, Kinyarwanda-speaking Congolese, they are living in foreign countries such as in Rwanda. We have a lot of them in Rwanda, more than 100,000. We have some in Tanzania. We have some of them living in the United States of America. We have some of them living in Europe. We have some of them living in Australia. I think they can be my witnesses. These are Banyamulenge speaking people. These are Congolese who speak Kinyarwanda, but they are marginalized because of who they are, because of what they are, because of how God was created them. So after giving you a brief history or background about these people and how they have been marginalized, there are people who love cultivating, there are people who love keeping animals, but their animals are grabbed on a daily basis by FDLR. You know, FDLR is one of the deadliest terrorist group operating from eastern and southern Congo, northern Kivu, and the southern Kivu. This M23 is also trying to fight against the bad regime of President Tshisekedi, but not leaving behind these FDLR elements. Some of the FDLR elements, including generals like the Ezekiel Gakwerere, who was captured on the front lines during the war between during the battle sometime back in Goma, when Goma town was being captured by the M23 rebels. He was handed over to Rwanda so that he comes back to his country. We are not going to ignore the fact that he had been living in Congo, working with the Congolese government for decades. So there are more people like Ezekiel Gakwerere who also still living at large in Congo, still conducting these illegal activities of marginalizing these Banyamulenge, marginalizing these Tutsi Congolese because of the nature that God created them in. We're also going to look at Mai Mai. Mai Mai is also another group of people who are also having the same ideology. You know, FDLR and their leaders, they have planted a very big seed, a very bad seed, a very bad ideology among these Congolese. We're telling them about the ideology of segregating one section of the society, calling the Banyamulenge, calling the Congolese who speak Kinyarwanda, the Tutsis, calling them Rwandese, and telling people, sensitizing people to kill them because of the nature of how God created them. So you can imagine the marginalization, the segregation these people go through. These people also have got the problem of denial of citizenship. Usually they are not given the citizenship because they consider them to be Rwandans. They also have land disputes because their land is gradually grabbed from them. Their animals are grabbed from them, all because of the nature of how God created them. Remember, these Banyamulenge people, they never chose to be created as Tutsis of Congolese nationality, but they were created in the image of God like any one of us here. So there's no need of segregating them. We also see the targeted violence and discrimination against these communities. These communities have repeatedly been targeted during episodes of ethnic violence. The first and second Congo Wars, that's between 1996 and 2003. These people were the biggest target, intensifying anti-Tutsi and anti-Kinyarwanda sentiments. Militias labor groups have accused them of collaborating with the foreign powers, particularly Rwanda, and subject them to massacre, rape, and forced recruitment. You can understand what pain they go through. These militias I'm talking about, the FDLR, Mai Wazalendo, they subject these people to torture, rape, forced recruitments, as well as other bad things that you cannot imagine of someone can be subjected to, such as massacre, because of the nature of their faces, because of the nature of their nose. I think that the world must stand and speak for these people and protect these people. This, this section of Congolese have lived for decades without nationality, have lived decades without being considered as human beings, being mistreated, inhuman treatment. They are facing inhuman treatment. United Nations should take a serious step. United States of America should take a very serious consideration on finding the solution, finding a durable solution to the problem of Banyamulenge speaking people. I don't know what solution they can find. Others suggest that Northern Kivu and Southern Kivu must be barricaded so that they have their own country, they manage their own affairs. Others suggest that they must be included. The government must include them into the governance of their daily business of their country. Others suggest they must go back to Rwanda. So I don't know which one. Please, may people who will be following our episode today give us the comment what you think, how you think the problem must be solved, and these people must be given their rights to live as human beings, and these people must be treated equally like any other Congolese. We call upon the Congolese government, the government of President Tshisekedi, please to consider giving proper rights, giving proper rights and protection to this section of Congolese, because they are being mistreated, they are being killed, they are being arrested, they are being grabbed of their land, they are being slaughtered day and night. Their children, their daughters are being taken. Someone would ask himself a question to say, but for how long have these people been marginalized? I think it's not a secret. You people can check in their archives. People can check on Google. People can check on other libraries or social medias. You find that these people have been marginalized for 60 years now. 60 years is more than enough for people now to start being respected. I have not mentioned to you that in northern Kivu, these people, Kinyarwanda-speaking Congolese, they have always lived in Ruchuro. That's another area called Ruchuro. It's more of like a district. It's called the Ruchuro territory, the Ruchuro. They have lived in Masisi. They have lived in Kibumba. For those of you who have not been to Masisi and Ruchuro, these are very, very rich areas with rich soil, rich with the precious stones such as gold, magnesium, cotton, diamond, all those things are there. They also have beautiful mountains where they have green grasses where their cattle go grazing. If you visit Masisi, I trust me, you are going to enjoy the beautiful nature of this small part of the world where people are mistreated and people are marginalized. You can imagine we have had FDR for over 30 years now, living in the same areas, living in Ruchuro, living in Masisi, living in Kibumba. You can imagine how they have been mistreating them for 30 years. That is why you see them all over the world, all over the world, and they have the same problem. The problem is that they are stateless people. They are stateless people because their government have denied them the chance to live. Their government have denied them the rights to citizenship. Their government have denied them the rights to run ownership. The government have denied them the rights to political rights. The government have denied them the rights to education. The government have denied them the rights to intermarriages, the rights to migration from one place to another, to go and look for greener pastures. Most of them, right now, as we are talking, they are IDPs. internally displaced persons. When you become an internally displaced person, you become a person of concern because you become vulnerable. By the way, I have not mentioned to you that the Banyamulenge community, as well as these Kinyarwanda-speaking people, they are all vulnerable people because of the way they are treated by the Congolese government. We are not going to deny the fact that FDLR is the key factor in marginalizing these people. FDLR is the key factor in spreading genocide ideology, the ideology of divisionism, the ideology of hate, the ideology of killing, mass killings. These are people who also participated. Some of them are perpetrators of the 1994 genocide against Tutsi in Rwanda. So they took the same ideology from Rwanda and went with it into Congo, where now Congolese, particularly those in Wazalendo and FRDC, the National Army for Congo, they have also been taught about this ideology. This is why every time they go, wherever they go, they try to look for these marginalized Congolese and kill them in the name of being called Tutsis. The world must stand and speak against this vice. The world must stand and protect these people. The United Nations, it's high time. The African Union, it's high time. East African community leaders, it's high time that you stood on your two legs and protected these marginalized Congolese. We are not going to ignore the fact that this is not new to some people, but it must be new to others. How people have managed to live for 60 years in denial. These people have lived for 60 years in denial. They have lived in 60 years without being allowed to go to school. They have lived for 60 years without being them allowed to be in politics, except for few of them who have been employed like General Masunzu, just to be there to to be there to give information to the Tshisekedi government to make sure that they find the best solution, they find the best way to mistreat these people. Another thing we didn't mention is that also the Banyamulenge people living in the southern part, you see the Kivu, specifically in Minembwe, are there now trying to fight for their rights, and they have also formed a military group called Twirwaneho. Twirwaneho in English is more like we protect ourselves, we fight for ourselves. So they are fighting for themselves, and they are in Minembwe, but because of their minority, they are not managing to make it. We hope that the world will hear their cries. We hope that the world one day will see them through. We thank you once more. So the U.S. New Times lovers, I will tell you that the Congolese government have a lot to do. The Congolese government have a lot to learn from other countries such as Rwanda, which have had a similar situation, a similar case, where now they have to build a future that every Congolese will enjoy, where they have to build a future for Congo without building it on ethnicity, because these are Congolese, even if they speak Kinyarwanda, but they are Congolese. In Africa, it's not new or it's not strange to see countries having people speaking the same languages. I'll give you an example. When you go to Zambia, eastern part of Zambia, in the areas like Chipata, Rundazi, they speak Chichewa. When you go to Malawi, including the capital city of Malawi, they speak the same Chewa. Actually, they even share some traditional ceremonies. So there's nothing strange to hear that there are people who can speak Kinyarwanda in Rwanda and there are people who can speak Kinyarwanda in Congo. If you go to just here in Tanzania, you go to southern Congo again, near Lubumbashi, you find Congolese speaking Chibemba, and when you go to Zambia, you find also Zambian speaking Bemba. So there's also nothing strange about people speaking Kinyarwanda in Congo and the Congolese speaking Kinyarwanda in Congo and the Rwandan speaking Kinyarwanda. There's nothing strange about that. In case you haven't visited Africa for the first time, when you visit Africa, you find some countries, they have similarities in the language, they have similarities in the culture. So the Banyamulenge and the Kinyarwanda-speaking Congolese, they may even have the same culture as the ones for Rwandese living here in Rwanda, but it doesn't mean they are Rwandese. What it means is that it's just the nature of how God created things. By the way, when you go to Berlin Conference, you check how the scramble for Africa was conducted and how Rwanda lost that part of the country. Masisi, Ruchuro, all those Goma, Bukavu were part of Rwanda. That's why it's not even a surprise to see that some of them can still speak Kinyarwanda. Those people are there because of history. The history that was created by our colonial masters, the Belgians, are the people who are supposed to be responsible of this problem. They must take responsibility of solving this problem and bring in new ideas and bring in a new era. And Habamucha Innocent, your presenter. See you next time on the US New Times. Thank you and have a good day.
Welcome to the USA New Times, where truth has no agenda and every story seeks peace. In a world divided, we shine a light on what unites us: honesty, justice, and love. Inspired by the words of Jesus, love your neighbor as yourself,